Although Discovery feels like an all-new Star Trek, the writers consistently pack in certain aspects that keep the show thematically familiar to its source material. In Episode 3, it was the introduction of technobabble about how the transportation system works. In Episode 4, it was Burnham's ethical quandary about abusing a life form for the Discovery's spore drive. It's the second one that continues on with Choose Your Pain. First Officer Saru, now Captain due to Lorca's abduction, must decide whether to subjugate a possibly sentient life form against its will or try to save the captain. It's a question not easily answered and one that he battles with Burnham over. Although a less philosophical take, it reminded me of The Measure of a Man, the Next Generation episode that dealt with the ethics of Starfleet owning Theta, since he's an android, or if he was in fact his own person. Don't get me wrong, it's not nearly as good an episode, but it has that thematic thread of respecting life no matter its form. That was nice to see in Discovery. Meanwhile, Lt. Paul Stamets works out a serum that can temporarily give a human the stellar transportation ability of the space tardigrade, letting someone access the space superhighway created by the spores. Does the explanation make perfect scientific sense? No, not at all, but it was convincing enough and interesting idea for a sci-fi show, so I'll let it slide. After Lorca's inevitable prison break, when there's a prison, there's always a prison break, Discovery picks up the captain and Saru orders an immediate jump. Not wanting to sacrifice the tardigrade, Stamets took its place instead with the new serum, and survived a near brush with death. Soon, the Discovery, with its captain in hand, returned to Federation space. Mirror, mirror on the wall with the crew back together, Saru and Burnham talk out their latest spat and Saru laments that he never had the chance to learn under Captain Georgiou, which led to Saru second-guessing himself throughout the episode. It's a nice moment, but Saru and Burnham's relationship still remains incredible weird, and I'm still not sure what to think of it. And I don't know what to think about the fate of Stamets either. After getting a once-over from Dr. Culber, he says that he's seen all the possibilities that the cosmos has to offer, but that he feels fine now. But when Stamets turned from the mirror, his reflection remained behind with a smirk, perhaps, and evil one. It's very possible that this is a hat tip to the infamous mirror universe in Star Trek. You know, the one where Spock has a beard. Advertisement. Continue reading below with the introduction of Mud, and a few other original series mentions in this episode, including a blink and you'll miss it mention of Captain Christopher Pike, the officer of the USS Enterprise before James T. Kirk. The Mirror Universe has a high probability of making an appearance in this first season. It looks like Discovery is already starting to lay the groundwork. But like most episodes of Discovery, Choose Your Pain wasn't without its faults. Even with Burnham taking a smaller role so other characters can shine, the chemistry among a lot of these characters still don't exist. I have no reason to believe that anyone likes anybody except maybe Tilly, and the show went out of its way to describe her as a weirdo. It makes it really hard to have meaningful moments between characters when the emotion just isn't there. However, in some instances, it's the very characters themselves that seem internally conflicted. While some characters like Lorca and Tilly have a strong personality, others seem contradictory or poorly developed. For example, Stamets is set up to seem like a self-interested prick, but he's the one who sacrificed himself to save the tardigrade. The show may be trying to keep us on its toes, but it doesn't quite fit from what we've seen from him so far. Gratuitous violence and harsh language are staples of most modern dramas, but on Star Trek, it still feels forced, like it really wants to be Battlestar Galactica. Michael Burnham also remains a complete mess, and I have no idea what's happening with her. Is she no longer channeling emotions like a Vulcan anymore? Why does she always rebel against authority as she does again in this episode? She served on the USS Shunjo for 7 years without being court-martialed, so I assume she acts like a typical Starfleet officer sometimes. Is it because she's just legitimately smarter than everyone else, and it annoys her? We're now 5 episodes in, and while Discovery's main person of interest has plenty of promise to explore, she still feels like a stranger. Overall, Choose Your Pain is another great sci-fi romp that delivers just enough to keep you interested. I'm still waiting for that home run episode that sells me on Star Trek Discovery for good. So far it's Discovery isn't a Trek masterpiece, but it sure is fun. Stray thoughts. Oh, that list of great captains was an Easter egg done right, even with shoutouts to Enterprise captains Jonathan Archer, Robert April, and Christopher Pike. I don't know if Sarah's suggestion to save the tardigrade's life necessarily meant chuck the thing into space. I think Lorca might be mad about that decision. Seems weird that Starfleet would openly endorse finding more tardigrades to enslave them so their ships can hop around the galaxy. Not cool, Starfleet. Not cool. A new fan theory says that Ash, the Starfleet prisoner who escaped with Lorca, is actually VOQ, engineered to look like a human. It would make sense since they're played by the same actor. That could be interesting. Every time the ship hops, it looks really cool, and the Discovery's design, and yes, that spinning saucer section, is really starting to work for me.